Now, China has just released data from its 2020 national census showing that mainland China has a population of 1.41 billion people. Now, that's a 5.38% increase on the figure from 2010. So that means the population growth rate has actually slowed by nearly 0.5% since the last census. It's also the slowest rate since the one-child policy was enforced back in the 1970s. Well, joining me now is Lynette Ong, who's Professor of Political Science at the University of Toronto. Lynette, thanks for joining us. You better tell me what that means, really, because 5.38% growth sounds pretty healthy to me.
What it means is that, first of all, thank you for having me. What it means is that population growth has been declining in China for several decades now. And it is expected to register its first decline, even though that has not been announced. But various people have talked about it a month ago that population growth in China is expected to register its first decline since the Great Leap Forward in the late 50s. That is of major symbolic significance because we know that, because of disastrous economic policies that Mao promoted in the late 50s, which resulted in millions of deaths. And then the country went on to embrace a very stringent one-child policies that led to drastic population decline and then reversal of the one-child policy in 2015. And now you see this real population decline, which, everyone is worried about.
Yeah, that reversal was only, 5 or 6 years ago. So perhaps too soon, is it, to be expressed through the census?
Yes, I think several things is going on. The one-child policy embraced in the 70s were very strict. It resulted in forced sterilization and forced sterilization and a series of, human rights abuses. And in rural areas where conservative Chinese people have a preference for boys rather than girls, it led to female infanticide, and then you have lopsided ratio between boys and girls. 30 years later, there just isn't sufficient women to give rise to babies, and hence that led to the situation we are seeing today.
Right. So do you think? Sorry to interrupt you there. I just wonder whether you think the government, therefore, is going to feel a need in any way to step in again to try and engineer a change in direction, or not?
I think they were anticipating that for some time now, which is why they reversed the one-child policy 7 years ago. And these sort of policies take decades to realize, to see the results. And I don't think anything, I don't see any major policies will be embraced in the very near future. But what we are seeing is policymakers have been talking about lifting the retirement age or increasing the retirement age, which is currently kept at 60 for men and 55 for women, which is, they are still pretty young, and then people live longer these days in China. So I think it's only natural and logical to lift those retirement age.
Okay, Lynette, thank you very much indeed. Lynette Ong at the University of Toronto.